All right, welcome back to Maps Are Dead with Mike D. It's the podcast where we talk about what you do when the world kind of runs off the map. And so, interviewing a whole collection of people, talking to them about how you navigate. I often say in my book, Extraordinary, the fact that most people got where they're going based on following a map someone else gave them. Well, what happens when there's no map for where you're going? So we're interviewing athletes and moms and business owners, talking about how you can use Clifton strengths, your own values, your own insides as a compass to navigate those changes. So, Kevin, so glad you're here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Kevin, where are you at? So you're getting ready to graduate, but you're in school where?
So I'm in school in Campbellsville, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky, but that's not a Kentucky accent, Kevin. Where are you from?
Definitely not. Personally, I'm from Italy, and it's been a crazy journey just even to get here. But now that we're here, it's even more a crazier journey once we're in this situation now. So it's been quite fun so far.
When did you come to the States, Kevin?
So I came in the States 6 years ago, and the reason I came in the States was for golf. Found a scholarship in a Liberty University, so that's from there. Start to loving the States, and that's why I'm still here, trying to find a way.
Okay.
Still.
Yeah. So are you doing grad work right now or undergrad still?
So I'm doing my graduate program, but this is actually my second master I'm trying to get. I got my first one last year on my business, and then I'm getting my leadership masters.
Okay. The masters. Now, you're playing golf for them, and you also kind of work in golf too, right?
Yeah. So it's as you know, it's a tough sport, and definitely it's a sport that requires a lot of mental game, and it's one of those things that definitely I play golf for most of my life. I started playing soccer since I'm from Europe, but I think golf is shaped me first as a person, but it taught me a lot about life skills, like for example being patient or even being determined, having a work ethic. And I would say now is just something that is so hard to give up. It's one of those games that once you start it, you just want to play. And now making the relationship through the golf world, which I think is one of the, I'm so lucky for it because I get to meet you through in a way golf, but it's a lot of business owner, people that are so high level in this world. And so it's been nice learning from them, and then the skills I can get and learn from you guys and everybody I got to meet in this game.
Golf is a fascinating sport. Because you have the players, but then there's so much business around it that kind of gets surrounded that way. I wrote down your Clifton Strengths themes on the wall behind me: achiever, positivity, competition, woo, and learner. We'll talk through those as we kind of go. But I kind of, if you don't mind, if I can pick your brain a little bit, because growing up in Italy, and we actually know each other through one of the TDG coaches, Giovanni Bianco. Joe and Joe actually do some coaching together. Joe will be on here this show at some point. Kevin, how do you decide I want to go to America? Because I'm sure there's a lot of other people that it might be great to live in another country, but how do you decide? Because it's not like your family's here.
Yeah.
But how did you navigate? How did you make that choice? I mean, it's not like they could even help you. Oh, by the way, Kevin, the whole point of this podcast is there's no map, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not like they said, Kevin, we've done it. This is how you go to America, and you learn to play golf at an American university. That doesn't exist. How did you navigate that? How did you make that decision? I'm gonna come to the States.
That's actually a great question. I think the main point of all this, when I make that decision, was it goes with one of those values, which is competition. I feel start playing golf and start to being great at this game and learn how to play the game and start winning couple tournaments. You get start to find out and realize about yourself a competitive side of it that honestly I didn't even know it. And once you get in this game, the beauty about it is just what it pushes you. It pushes you every day and every time you play to be a better version of yourself, because you never stop learning about this game. And so it drives you because you're trying to achieve a perfection level that is which is almost you cannot arrive to it.
Sure.
But once you, in Italy, start to winning a couple events and start to be great at golf, and in my mind is okay, let's dive in more. So let's try to make it better. Let's try to perfection this game. And so I knew if I wanted to get better at golf, the main spot for golf is the US. And so it's once I felt drive by this game and okay, I wanna do something great with this game. I wanna put all myself into it, and just to become a better golfer. I like, what's the best place can give me this, like, facilities, the competitors I have with me, the coaches. And when all those factors came in the equation, I'm like, okay, I think the US is definitely the place. On top of this, my parents always taught me and always tell me, like, school is important. So when it comes down to like school and golf, what can I do with those two together? USA was just the best option. I would say
Yeah.
this: going to Liberty was not part of my plan, just because it was one of the top schools. I actually start to email like more those D2 school, like NAIA, like, or maybe Division One, like lower level. But during that summer 2018, end up that I played the biggest event in Italy, the Italian Amateur, end up winning it. So you go to a tournament and you're like, okay, I'm trying to play good. I'm trying to like do these things without thinking what is going to happen if I win, what is going to happen if I play good. So I go there.
Right.
My task was just go there and perform, and end up winning the tournament without realizing it. The next week, I'm having like emails from those like D1 high level school, and I'm like, okay, so I guess this dream now is becoming like I can go to a nice school. And so that's how it turned out to be. When it comes down to like navigating or having a map, I definitely didn't expect to go to Liberty or to a nice school. And so that's why it was kind of like a surprise myself too. So it was nice.
Yeah. And do you, when was there a moment when you realized I'm about to do something crazy?
Like,
I mean, you're gonna pack up your whole life and move to the States. I mean, and so in your story, you're describing the fact that you start to believe,
yeah,
but at some point, you're going, wait a minute. There's no guarantees. There's a lot of risk. You know, did
what
you
am
have
I
people in
doing?
your life? What am I doing? I mean,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, Kevin, this is a great idea. And everybody is like, yeah, of course, go to America, be a success. I mean, is that really how it is? Because one of the things we talk about, I'm sure you hear this from Giovanni sometimes, is that if you don't have a vision bigger, we say have a vision of who you want to be, but then we say if in absence of a vision, people's vision becomes their survival needs, feeling good, looking good, being right, or being in control. And so for you to go, okay, wait, this is a world beyond my control. There's no guarantee I'm going to look good, and it's definitely not going to be easy,
Yeah.
but my vision of being great overrides it. Was there any point that you remember going, am I sure? Where you questioned yourself, but you still had to do it?
Yes, I think you hit it on the spot. Like, I think you know me, and you know like what it means being Italian. Like the emotional
Yeah.
side of it plays like a
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
role. And coming from a guy, I'm maturing throughout the years, but like having
Sure.
talking to me to like a 17 years old, thinking golf was everything, and emotions play a big role into it. And so I'm like, oh, I get to the States, everything's gonna be perfect. What am I doing? Like, am I sure I'm gonna do this? Am I sure I want to play golf? Am I sure I'm ready to leave my parents? Do I know
Yeah.
how to do laundry myself? Right? And so it's
Yeah.
like all those questions are like coming in my mind. And so sometimes you just gotta like have that vision, like, okay, this is the path in my mind in a way. And like, am I doing this for that goal? And so when it comes down to like, okay, I think I can do it, I can handle this. So then I was like, okay, I think that can be the best decision. But even
Yeah.
though I make the decision of going in the States during that time of like me committing to go to the States and me coming to the States, that time is like, it's crazy because you have compliments from everybody, like congrats on going to the States, like good job on going to the States, you're gonna have fun,
You're
like
like, that's nothing. That just gets me to the States.
exactly. And I'm like, this about to start the process. So I'm like, I don't even know how to speak English, like
Yeah.
that was a thing for me.
Yeah.
And so I think the emotional side, if I mean looking back, especially in seeing me after 6 years, like realizing more what I could take care of more of the task itself rather than just like panicking almost and like what it's gonna look like, what I'm gonna do. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I was not the best person like dealing with my emotion myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially the positive. So what you're describing, so positivity, people with positivity. I have positivity in my top 5. Positivity is a strength where it doesn't mean we're always positive. It means we function better in positive environments. And so there's the risk. So there's a lot of emotion to it. Woo stands for winning others over. Like we like social. And so especially in those early days when you can't quite communicate, Those early years are going to be really hard
Yeah.
because being misunderstood and not being able to be the joking, expressive person that you are naturally, you are now. But I have to
Yeah.
imagine when English was hard, like that's a gap and it's really isolating in some ways,
Yep,
right?
that's exactly
And
right. You're describing myself when I was like coming in the States. Yep.
yeah. And so for people with woo positivity, it can be a difficult the good news is once you get language, it comes easy. But until you do, you feel like you can't express yourself.
Yeah, I think
It's going to be
yeah,
a challenge.
I have a crazy story about that too. Is like I wanted so much like be myself around people, as you said, like with
Yeah.
my language because I was struggling with English, that I decided also to like almost like talking so much less with my parents and start
Yeah.
watching like more like TV shows in English, start watching with
Yeah.
subtitles, start hearing more English music. So like that like process of adapting and even like
Yeah.
making sacrifice for it just to in order to be more myself, which is like yeah, more
Yeah.
outgoing, joking around, like that's type of personality for sure.
Yeah. And so, what's good news is the achiever part of you, achiever starts every day at zero. It's an executing theme. It's all about getting things done. So it's hard work. So once you get to the work, once you get here, that'll be a key. And then learners are natural. They know how to educate themselves to learn any subject. Even if they're not going to be an expert, they learn in order to get things done. But here's the thing I want to ask, because this is the tough one. Competition is a common occurring theme in high performing athletes. I have a white paper that's about to be published, and it's a Clifton Strengths analysis of 1,600 athletes from collegiate to professional athletes. And in the general population, competition does not show up statistically in the top 5, but in NCAA and Olympic athletes, competition does. So not surprising to see someone as committed as you with competition. But here's the thing. Competition, interestingly enough, competition likes to win, but it's not about winning. People with competition are motivated to perform based upon comparison to someone else. Specifically, comparison to others that are great. So even in your story, when you're describing, well, I have to come to America because that's where the best golf is. Now it's America or Saudi Arabia, depending upon how you see the world, with Live Golf or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reality is your brain goes, so when I'm asking you about the vision that's overriding the fear of looking bad or being out of control, it was the vision of being great. So comparing yourself, going to be the best. I just won the Italian Amateur Nationals, but I've got to be the best in America. And so you're shifting to, I must go and compete at that level. So what's interesting to me, as I've seen competition over the years, is that it drives you to step into scenarios to be your best. What can challenge you, though, as you age, is competition also doesn't like to play games that can't win.
Yep.
And so over time, when you're younger and you're willing to dive in and try it, your brain starts to go, wait, I have limited resources. I have less time. I can't pick. So you may find at times the competition, the theme that got you going is the theme that if you're not careful starts to work against you because you start to hedge and go, well, I'm only going to play things I know I can win. I'm only going to take risks that I know are going to succeed, when there are times when you actually still need to take risks, but you may find the competition works against you. Do you ever notice that? Because you're in a big moment right now, right? You're finishing your degree. You got to figure out your career. You got to figure out your visas. How does competition impact the way you're navigating all of that now?
Yeah, I think it's correct. I think like I can see now that I'm hearing you too is like myself changing throughout the years, and I think that's why for me it was very important having a guy like Joe on my side because like playing golf throughout like between like starting 14 to like my 20s, it was more that competition of like it's like, oh, I want to go there, I want to win, I want to beat everyone, I want to be the
Yeah,
best, and that stuff was definitely helping me. But when it comes down with age, it's like I sterilize more. It's I want to compete, yes, because that's what I get to do, and that's what as right now I'm putting all my time into and stuff. But at the same time, is throughout the competition, which can be a golf round, and it's usually like 5 6 hours. So it's more
yeah,
like what person I want to be while I'm competing. So when it
yeah,
comes down to your question, it's like, okay, competing is nice, and I do want to win still, but it's more about what person throughout this competition will make me win, or what can I do about myself that will make
Yeah.
me have the best version of myself. So it's more like something shifting about myself, my thoughts, my mental game, rather than, okay, this guy just shot 500, or like just played so good, I need to do this to beat him. Because maturing in golf, you realize, I mean, at least I realize that it's more a game between my ears, right? And it's like the
Right.
skills, everybody's gonna have that skill, but it's like,
Yeah.
how can you use your mental game in order to make your skill, your golf skill, at the best of your performance? So I do I do feel sometimes, yes, when I'm on a tournament. Let's say I'm on a tournament that I really want to win so bad that I'm like, let's say conference from an American standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Because in Italy we don't have like conference with colleges and
Right.
stuff. So for
Right.
example, conference, I know I need to win to go to nationals. If I win conference, I'm going to nationals. So I'm stepping on the tee and I want to win. And sometimes that thought of like, I need to win or it's the end of the world, sometimes it's working against myself, because I'm forgetting who am I. I'm forgetting what are my like stronger suit of myself, and I'm just so focused on the results. On I want to win, I want to win, I want to win, that I'm working almost against my like good things about my personality or my game, that just stuff is start to work against myself. So like having job my side, especially on those tournaments nowadays, is like I know I want to step on those tournaments and I want to win so bad, but it's also like in order to win, I have to go through those steps first. Let's go through those
Yeah.
steps first, and those steps gonna make me win.
Yeah, because one of the things, so years ago when I first started working with USA Triathlon, I think Katie Zafaris, she's been with Team USA a number of years. Katie posted something on Instagram, and she basically said that she used to say, she'd wake up and basically self-talk. She'd be like, okay, here's what I need to do to win today. And she would coach herself through it. And when asked how she matured professionally to kind of stay at the high level she was at the time, I think she was going to her second Olympics or something. She said, now I wake up and she says, I say to myself, I know who we are. And if we're good enough today and it's our day to win, we win. And so winning and being the best on that tee for you,
Yeah.
for us at the Dauphinee Group, we always say, we're a strange company. We believe your greatest performance comes when you don't perform. When you think you're trying to control your body to do the thing it needs to do, we actually believe instead that your body's going to do it when you get out of the way. And so finding a way in order to say to yourself, hey, I know I've done who do I want to be today is our phrase. Like, who do you want to be in this golf tournament? When I'm working with baseball players, I'll say to them, who do you want to be when you get home at night from the stadium? Because here's the deal. If you want to be, I want to be somebody who showed up rested, who was as good as they possibly could be today, who is a person who knows their sport inside and out. And if that's enough, I win. If it's not enough, it was the other person's day. It's okay, because tomorrow will be another day to compete. And so knowing, you know what, I know what I am. I am world class as a golfer, but the reality is I don't have to become that. So you're not trying to become who I want to be in this moment. It's the present. I know I'm this good. What I don't have to is control my body. I need to let my body do what it's going to do. So how do I do all the things that let me be present, let me be clear, and so being that kind of navigating that. And so when you think about what you're navigating in your life right now, Kevin, like you got to make decisions, and you're talking before the call started. How much in your brain does making this decision right now about potential job offers or next moves or trying to go pro versus taking on jobs, as you're wrapping up school and you're still playing for a few more weeks too?
Yeah.
How much does this feel different from when you navigated to leave Italy the first time all those years ago?
Yeah, I think the difference out of it's gonna sound crazy to say it, but it's like the responsibility that comes with it. Like, don't get me wrong, coming to the States and play golf, it's definitely very responsible, like, because I know I was playing golf, and I know I need to come here to perform. But when it comes down to now, my priority in life shifted. Before it was just me hitting a golf ball. That was, looking from now, was easy. Before it was definitely hard and it was everything that. But
Yeah.
looking back now, that's easy. Now my priority in life are, okay, let's start a career. I want to
Mm-hmm.
build a family in the future. I want to have
Mm-hmm.
those kind of concept in my life. I want to have a good time with my parents. I care about
Yeah.
my sister. Like those values about families for me are
Mm-hmm.
important now. And like golf, it is good, but
Yeah.
it's not the same way I was before, right? So when I think
Yeah.
about responsibility like this, it's like sometimes questions that come up before, for example, when we talk about what was before, is like question that could come up is like, what am I doing? Do I know English? Do I know like if this is gonna
Right.
work out from a golf standpoint? Now it's more like, okay, what if like the next job fires me, or like what if I don't get job,
Sure.
or what if to be
Yeah.
successful now that person makes a thought amount and I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
making the, can I pay my rent? It's, I think the
Yeah.
responsibility that comes with all those questions, it makes you feel much more like, actually, okay, let me make the
Yeah.
right decision now, rather than I'm going to States,
Yeah.
everything is good.
Right.
So I think that's
Right.
the,
And that can be natural. And that can be natural. If you don't mind me just kind of poking it a little bit, is that part of the conversation, part of what you're describing, even like I mentioned with competition before we started talking about golf again,
yeah.
is this idea of I don't want to do it wrong, right? We want to play games and we know we can win. And so one of the things that can happen is when you're navigating decisions as big as you are, what job to take, where to move, what opportunity to step into right now, you probably have the most consequential. You're probably facing, Kevin, if not to be too big about this.
No, but
You're
it's,
probably you're probably facing the most consequential 120 days of your life.
yep.
The next 4 months of your life are potentially some of those pivotal months. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Right.
correct. That's why I'm so like,
But but here's the thing then. So here's the problem: is that what can happen in those moments is competition, which is helpful, can also kind of kick in too much. And what it can do is say, in order to answer every question right, in order to win, so to speak,
yeah.
I've got to know every question. I've got to know the right answer. The problem is that means that the only thing you need in order to lose is the one question you haven't thought of. And you could drive yourself crazy trying to think of, what if this person fires me? Well, what if this visa doesn't come through? And what if this doesn't work? And what if that doesn't work? There's no version of you thinking through every one of those problems that can make that work. This is where the reverse comes in. You have to say, the answer is not in having all the answers. The win is not in having all the answers. The win is knowing I'm Kevin. I can be resilient no matter what happens. I cannot control whether or not the boss fires me if I take this job. If the boss fires me 6 months in, here's what I do know. I packed up my entire life and moved my butt from Italy to America, learned another language, became a world-class golfer, got 2 master's degrees, and survived in America. I'm thinking I can navigate a boss firing me. If a visa doesn't come through, I'm thinking there's a lot of countries in the world who want world-class golfers. I can figure this out. The more you go, this is where the being of, I'm actually resilient. I don't need to have every answer. I need to gather what I want. I have a vision to be in the States, be a professional golfer, and work in this sport. That's my vision. I'm going to do everything I can until I can't do anymore. And when those doors close, I have built the resilience enough to navigate through whatever door opens. But competition can drive itself crazy trying to catalog and be prepared for every risk instead of going, my job actually is to be as healthy as possible, to be as calm as possible, to go remind yourself, I'm resilient. Look at the scoreboard. Look what
Yeah.
I've done in 6 years. Oh, wait. Yeah, I can navigate these decisions. Why? Because I've done it again and again. Yes, there are large consequences, but you finding a way to go, this isn't about being resistant to things that could attack me. It's about being resilient in the face of
Yeah.
whatever comes.
Or,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah. No, that definitely helped too. It's like, it's just, yeah, as you said, the reverse, and like the reverse way of thinking, which it's I mean, it just shocks you because you're like, Yes, that's true. That's the way. And I think, as you said, the competition side is sometimes a lot of the. I mean, at least for myself, a lot of times coming with a comparing section. So
Yeah.
having like a lot of my friends, in a way, let's say, can be married or having a job, making
Oh yeah.
ton amount of money. It's just like, oh, they do this, I cannot do this. They have they
Hmm.
have a wife, I cannot have so it's the comparing side
Yeah.
of it, which is, as you said, sometimes it can hit you and work the opposite way. So it's more
Yeah.
like, yeah, realizing the resilient side of it, or what I got to learn the past year and how can I use those, because now I'm Kevin, so I got all those things now, so how can I use those things to improve or to make a situation better in a situation that didn't go my way. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was very
And
helpful.
again, part of realizing Clifton's strengths and using that well is realizing when we always do what comes natural to us. With you're an achiever, you're always going to work hard. You're always
Yeah,
going to be as optimistic as possible. You're always going to want to be the very best at anything you're trying to do. You're going to want to laugh and have a good time, whatever you're doing. And you're going to be able to teach yourself almost anything, right? That's
yeah,
achiever positivity competition, woo learner. But knowing when they also work against you sometimes. And they don't. So
mm-hmm.
the right strengths at the right time. Competition is about comparison when it's the right. Here's the deal though. Competition is only as healthy as the thing you choose to compare yourself to.
Yeah,
You choose to compare yourself to someone else, you can be like, man, I want to be a pro golfer in the PGA Tour in the top 20 in the world at any price. Well, you can do that. I know them. I've coached some of them. I've coached teams of guys who've got multiple trophies and big names as we come into Masters Week this week, which
yeah,
kicked off today, right? Here's the deal. You wouldn't want their lives and wouldn't do the things they're doing. The
mm-hmm.
girls, the alcohol, the craziness, some of the things, the choices. But you know what? If you choose to compare yourself there, you will win, but you're going to lose. It's easy to look at other people and say, well, they have wives and I want a wife right now, or they have
Yeah.
this and I want this. You could have that, but there's a trade off, right?
Yes, correct.
And that's that question of going, so my thing is always make sure what you're comparing, for you especially when it comes to navigating your life, do the extra work of going, what bar am I chasing? Am I chasing a bar because this person will say this about me? Or I'll like what this says? Or look, I know that the best of me looks like this and I want to be that. I want the bar to be me chasing the life I want. I want to be the type of father this person is. I want to be able to say these things, and this is the bar I'm setting for myself. Pick, you're going to win, Kevin, a lot. The trick is don't win at things that don't matter.
No matter. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you could be like, oh, I'm going to check out and go do this because I want that. And you're like,
Come on.
yeah, congratulations, you won. You're as good as that. Doesn't
Did
matter
that
though.
really matter? Yeah. Did that really? Yeah, yeah.
And so do the time and do the effort as you're navigating this right now, as you're looking at these jobs to go, it's not as complicated as you think. You've had, since I've known you, even a little bit of the last few years, you
Yeah.
kind of know what you want. You'd love to build a life here in the States. You'd love to be professional in golf. So great. Keep going on those things. And if those things close or open, great. Add to that. But you don't have to chase things going, well, what if this is a mistake? That's not a reason. For you to do it is because it's in alignment with my vision of who I want to be. And, Kobe Bryant, I think, is the one who talks about the fact that at the end of the day, it really is about who you become while trying to become it.
Amen.
While you're trying to achieve it, who you become while trying to achieve it is the question. You may end up living back in Italy someday, full time, professionally. And guess what? You will be amazing. And you'll be a brilliant father and a brilliant husband and businessman and professional athlete and probably a coach too, among other things. Or that could be true of you in America. That could be true
Yeah.
of you living in Dubai. Like,
Yeah.
who knows where it's going to be? But you don't have to live your life trying to go, well, I really hope I don't make a mistake. In these moments, achiever competition can start to catalog the problems, and then it shrinks our world. It makes us nervous and tight. Instead of being like, I'm a world-class
Anxious.
golfer.
Yeah.
I need to get out of my own way and let myself be. And so pick your comparison points very carefully.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Loved it. Loved it. Especially seeing it from like a bigger perspective, as you put it. It's just so relieving in a way, because as you say, you get so like tighten up and just see
Yeah.
a couple things and start to juggle with the ifs rather than just seeing the
Yes.
bigger picture sometimes. So, I appreciate it,
Because
those advice.
yeah, buddy. Because I think even as you talk about this, like we often say, like I'm working with one of the hitting coach for a Major League Baseball team right now, and we're talking about hitting. Okay, he's the hitting coach for a
Yeah.
major team, but we started with his obituary. We're like, what do you want them to say about you when you're dead? We go that big because here's the
Oh,
thing:
wow.
anytime it starts to feel tight, you have to add perspective, and the best way to get perspective is to give yourself time. You're a young guy. Are you what, 26, 27?
24,
How old are
about
you?
to be 25 soon, yeah.
25. You're a baby. Oh my gosh. So it's really
Responsibilities,
hard to
man.
think.
We just talk about
I'm
it.
not asking you to think about the end. You're a baby. It's all good. But here's the thing is that start to realize you're gonna have, I tell people all the time, think about your death. Think about you're gonna die. Like way down there. You're
Yeah.
an Italian guy, you're gonna live like old man with grandkids everywhere. But when they talk about your life, let's imagine you're a pro golfer. Even pro golfers, that's not the only thing you talk about. When you talk about golfers who are dying at 80 years old, it's they were a golfer and they had a clothing company and they had a foundation and they were a broadcaster. And think of it, the moment you're in right now is probably one of four major moments in your life. So this isn't your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Giving yourself perspective of who you want to
Perspective.
be, what are the cause worth your life. When we were working with athletes, I used to work with triathletes as I met Giovanni, and guys would be like, yeah, I just want to make the games in LA in 28. And I'm like, that's fine, but what happens after? Like, where's your vision for who you want to be beyond this? And so even for you, you're going, it's great to go, man, I really want this. I want to be a pro golfer. I'm like, that's fine. Kevin, I bet we can make that happen. Here's the deal. Then what?
Yeah.
Then you're 30 years old and you're a pro golfer in America. Great. Now what? Well, now we have to have a vision bigger. So you might as well start dreaming bigger now so that it starts to trickle into your decisions so you're not making short moves. You're navigating based on a vision so big that it overwhelms the fear of the day-to-day. Is this the right call? Is this the wrong call?
Yeah. I just had thoughts since you mentioned like perspective, and when every time I think competition, another thing that I think can play against is like it comes to my mind the word patience. Because as soon as I put stuff into perspective, like I can see like, for example, you mentioned the different big stage in my life, and I'm one of those four.
Yeah.
It's just like the patience side of it. While sometimes being competitor, you just want everything at the moment. I just want this now. I just want this now. And so even
Yeah.
like maturing throughout this journey is just like learning okay, I want to be this, but also I have to have grace to myself. I need to be
Yeah.
patient on this. So just something that came to my mind as we were speaking.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I think probably Giovanni's talked to you about when we talk to people about their vision and the reality. We'll talk about HEAT, which our friend
Yeah.
Johan created. Which is habits, experiments, attitude, and time. And so habits are actions you're going to take repetitively that you're going to build in a framework of how you're engaging in your life. Experiments are things you try to get information. Scientists do experiments to get data. They don't expect experiments to work. They just try things to get more information. But then there's attitude, right? The mental posture of being and being open. But the last one people leave out, which is time. HEAT has to have time and patience. What's fascinating is people are patient in some areas and zero patience in others. With
Correct.
high performers in competition, you want it now. Like we want it in this moment. But what's fascinating is when you started your master's degree and you went to your first day of classes, if you'd come home you went to your first day of classes on Monday and you came back on Friday and we were housemates and you're like, God, I can't believe I don't have my master's already. You'd be like, that's stupid, right? You don't expect to get a master's in a week. So when it comes to school and learning, your brain releases it's a process. It's going to take 2 years and all these credits. And you don't care that it takes 2 years because you know it does. But when it comes to your development, you get mad that you're not soon enough. It's not fast enough. It's not
It's all right.
It's not immediate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially when you're there, like on the first round, you try to win the tournament, which it takes 4 rounds, and you're there like, oh, let me just shoot 808 under today because I want to win it today. And I'm like, I mean, you said the perfect example. Like, you're not trying to get, you don't get out of patience because you're planning to get your master in 2 years. But after the first round, you just want to win the tournament because it's just like, and it's fascinating. It's crazy. And again, it goes back with
Right.
perspective, as you said.
But even here's the thing. But here's the other part of that. Even the perspective piece on that is that imagine instead, let's take the tournament, for example. In that moment, you're like, let's go quick. I want to win it right now because you want the win instead of going, I wonder what else I could learn over the next 3 rounds. Man, what if instead of just winning, I could win right now, but man, what if I could be incredible? What if I actually need to have a crappy second round so I have the memory the next time I have a tournament of, oh, look, crappy second round, but great third round and fourth round, and I win the tournament? Is that what if instead you framed it out of, oh, I need to get something out of these 4 rounds? Maybe it's a win, maybe it's education. I tell people all the time, confidence isn't something you conjure. Confidence is remembering things that have already been true. Having confidence is about remembering. So when you sit here and I talk to you about your choices and I'm like, listen, you don't need to have every answer because no matter the answer, getting fired, visas or whatever, hey, look, you can remember this is what I've done. I left Italy. I came to America. Like, you can be confident because you're remembering confidence. Same thing. There are times when you need to look back and be like, I have a tournament in my head that I did not win. But what I remember is I had 3 crappy rounds, and in the 4th round, I shot the round of my life. So I have a memory of knowing having a bad round doesn't mean I have to have a bad round. Why? Because I actually have a memory of it, which is what confidence is. It's remembering.
Yeah.
And so finding the value, but if your only goal is to win, you go up there, you're like, man, I got to swing away because the reality is I want to win it first time. That's because that's a little kid's view. You're like, instead of going, I want to win and I want everything else this tournament has for me. What else can I learn? Do I need experience? Do I need another round with a really annoying partner? Do I need to be able to talk to myself different? If you're like, who I am, I want to be somebody who wins while being the best and getting as much as he can out of every round of golf while he gets to play. Because Kevin, you will look back and you'll be like, man, I just want to get to the last round to win. And you're going to look back, you would trade your right arm to have 3 more rounds of golf as a student, and you're not going to get them anymore. So every tournament right now, you're like, man, how great is this? This is 1 more round of golf that I get to play as a college student. Because you're not going to get that after 100 days from now.
Exactly right. Yeah. And
that's a different vision, though, of my vision is to win.
Just to win, yeah. It goes back with also the learner quality on those 5.
Yeah, you got to tap into your learner strength because that's another strength of yours is when you like make it your job to learn how to get these things done. When you make it your job to learn what other skill can I acquire?
Yeah.
So
it's also crazy when you have also like, what?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like, it's also crazy when you have like in front of you or like playing mates with you and that people that are almost the opposite of you. That let's say you tell them something, and they think they already know everything. They're not a learner, and then the quality that you have stood out even more to you. I'm like, oh dang it! Like you think this knows everything. I'm glad I want to learn when somebody tells me something, or I'm glad like when you have somebody that is the opposite of you, you realize even more like your quality, which is crazy.
It's so strange because people don't realize their strengths. Yeah, people think that everyone's like them when it comes to strengths, but you start to realize you're like, oh wait, they actually don't do that. They don't listen. Man, I love when I learn new things. I love, that's what your learner is. Yeah, people are very unaware. Yeah, I think as you're navigating. So right now you're when do you graduate? When's the graduation for you?
Regarding 9th of May. So about a couple more weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, we have another tournament this week, and then we're playing conference, and then if the team qualifies, we're going to nationals. So it's quite exciting. It's crazy, like you start in August and you go through a lot, and as soon as you get closer, everything in the past, in a way, counts a little because you can just go there and just go perform. Now everything is important now, so it's exciting.
Yeah. And then you've got, how quickly do you have to make decisions about what's next for you after school, after graduation? How much time do you have?
So the biggest decision now, it's where I want to live. I commit to the caddy opportunity that I got in my, even that it was so hard to commit in because it was just like where I was going to live. I mean, caddying is like a lot of traveling. So it was just like tough, but at the same time I commit to it. It's more like now I have those 2 months process of like those 60 grace period days that you get to stay in the US, but at the same time I apply for my OPT, I'm waiting on getting the visa approved. So it's more that time of unknowing, the mysterious time, just like what is gonna happen. But as of now, I was planning on spending summer in Italy, so I knew those next 2 months I was gonna go home anyway. So it was not like super stressful.
But the caddy job would be based in America, even though you're traveling all the time.
Yeah,
because
as of now,
it's the
I'm
guy you
based in
caddied
Italy
for
'cause
already, right? Because you just you've been caddying for him for a while, all over the world, yeah.
Yeah, we started the season. We went to India and South Africa together, and so yeah, now we have a couple of weeks in the Asia side, and then hopefully get to Europe and then work our way back from there. So quite exciting. I'm excited to be in that environment in golf because it's just like one of my personal coach, like the golf instructor, is a professional caddy himself, and he always tells me like being a caddy or being a player, just being in that situations is just like 1% of the golfers, and so it's exciting being around that circle, and so I'm very pumped for this journey.
Yeah, that learner part of you will definitely enjoy that. When it comes to, and again, I would just encourage you, like it definitely sounds like competition's pretty strong. It definitely sounds like the hard work achiever part of you, but be cautious about what you compare yourself to.
Yeah.
And remind yourself that you're strong and able to navigate, that you can do that. Because your ability to work hard with a good attitude and figure out whatever you're in, you've obviously done that for decades, and you'll keep doing that. So don't let the complexity of the situation scare you off. Just trust in your resilience.
Yeah, appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I will definitely keep those secrets with me. So thank you for your time. Thank you for those.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching Maps Are Dead. If these conversations are helping you rethink your path, do us a favor. Like, follow, and leave a 5-star review. Helps other people find us and helps others find their way. And if today's episode is hit home, if the map you're following doesn't quite feel right, we've got something for you. We call it the navigation brief. Here's how it works. You send us your top 5 Clifton strengths. We're gonna send you back a custom video with real insights. Where you are, what's holding you back, and how to start moving with more clarity. No fluff, no hype, just truth, direction, and a little shot of momentum. You can sign up at the link in the show notes or in the podcast description. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in the next episode. Remember, maps are dead, so live courageously.